everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to Paws On Animation.
Today we're covering the last season of the original Ben 10 franchise, Ben 10 Omniverse.
Yes, we know you guys never thought in a billion years we'd be watching, but we said, you know what? We watched everything else Ben 10. We might as well give this series a try.
Right.
Now this particular series takes place 1 year after Ultimate Alien, with Ben being given a plumber partner, Rook Blonko. And together they go on misadventures.
Yes.
To protect the citizens of Bellwood, both human and alien.
And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, notification notifications on future podcasts and other pause videos.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate you. And we thank you to new subscribers. Thank you for watching and listening. And you're appreciated.
Yes. So, as you said, this is a series never thought we would cover, let alone watch. And it actually ended up being free on our video on demand service. Back in October, they actually had just about all Omniverse, but was one episode missing per season. Then after the new year hit, they actually ended up having all the episodes of Omniverse, the classic, Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, and the reboot. Everything is there aside from respective movies.
There are 8 seasons, which surprised me. Now, we have to say that first started watching season 1 and we watched the first few episodes, I actually had to say, you know what, this series actually isn't bad. And that lasted for 2 seasons.
Yes.
Season 1 and season 2. To me personally, and I think you two, are the best 2 seasons of the entire series. It started off differently, the characters looked odd to us.
Yeah.
It took some getting used to them, but after the first few episodes and really giving the series a try, seasons 1 and season 2 are actually excellent viewing and entertainment.
Yes. And we were, like you said, really thrown off by the art shift because we were kind of used to how Alien Force and Ultimate Alien looked. And when this new show came along, it was made not long after Dwayne McDuffie's passing. He only wrote the first episode and some ideas for future episodes. And that's about as far as it got, and they dedicated Ultimate Alien to him at the end of the year.
Always see within it, you would know when there was something that was
right, right. So, Omniverse was created for another segment of the Ben 10 fandom, and this part of the fandom that apparently did not like the art style or writing style of Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. They were more fans of it being an action comedy like the OG series. And she had seen it shift to a full-on drama and action, and the style being more normalized really didn't sit well. They missed it being more comedy-based. They didn't want to see drama. They didn't want to see action. They wanted to see goofy antics with some superhero butt-kicking like a Saturday morning cartoon. So, after Ultimately ended, they decided to revert back to what the OG series had, make it almost full-on comedy with some action in between. Why they made the style shifts, and they gave Ben a new partner. He aged a year older, but he still acted like he was 10. They would go back and forth between him being a teen and a kid.
Which was different.
Right. And more people were satisfied because they loved that the art style stuck out. He didn't look like he was a quote-unquote boring anime style. Didn't look Western enough. So, right. So this one fit more for the group audience, and they loved this series because it was no longer too serious or too dark.
Now, the changes in particular that took some getting used to were some of the characters having just black filled eye sockets.
Yeah,
No
like old cartoons.
like
Yeah.
Grandpa Max. And then Kevin looked more goth, kind of like Frankenstein. Is a way to put it.
Yeah, funny you say that.
Really different. But you know, hey, that was their art style. When totally
Yes.
they went a totally different direction with her.
Yes.
And I guess they wanted her to look more nerdish versus how she looked in Ultimate Alien Force.
Yes, and they even point that out and they said, and unfortunately I had mentioned it too while watching, she actually looks like a dweeb now. And they even said it within the show, she looks dweebish. So now it's canon, she's a dweeb, even at a teenager.
You see a lot of old characters and they look different as well.
Right.
They had some amazing changes, I guess, to fit the art style. And then you had new characters like Rook and others you've never seen, though their designs actually were fine.
Yeah.
Some of them, like you said, they did remind me of Saturday morning cartoons, like The Shopkeeper and Rook. Definitely looked like something you would see on Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
A lot of the aliens and things. So I have to say, after getting used to it, the animation style was fine. And I personally, as you mentioned, he would alternate between age 10 and age 16. And I didn't think I was going to like it, but I did actually like it because you kind of had an idea how the film of the episode was going to be
Right.
based on the age of the man that appeared in it.
Right.
If he was 10, it was goofy and blind from adults, then his own knowledge would be learned. If he was 16, then he was blind from books on his knowledge. He was learning all the things he had learned.
Right.
He would think about the past and how they saw things. So actually, that was an interesting way of having a series done, which we have not seen done at all on any of the shows.
Right. And another thing they're trying out was that every season after about the first season, they would try to have themes. Themes would be going on in a story arc every 10, 12 episodes, and they would consider that its own season. After the first one, it was just him and Rook getting to know each other, working together. And it was sort of like little misadventures and seeing this new underground city where a bunch of aliens are living underneath, which you didn't know existed until today. And that was pretty much all of season 1. Then slowly, as you said, more characters you were familiar with were reintroduced, and then new ones were introduced. And then they started having themes. One theme was they sort of had a techno-war type alien that was considered Ben's second greatest enemy next to Vilgax, who they toned down Vilgax to not be so threatening because they wanted to stay silly. So he's kind of like a half threat now, which defeats the purpose, but hey. And the technovore alien was way more of a threat, and Ben was actually scared of this one. Then they had one that was a Time War theme towards the end of the series, and that one ended up being probably the most convoluted one of all. And then what's the Galactic Monsters season was, I think, probably the worst one to me.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
They were expecting just different ideas, different designs, but that didn't happen.
No.
And it was more of
Gimmick.
it was a gimmick, but it was also more playful than I
Yeah.
expected it to be.
Yeah, and the whole entire gimmick of the season was Galactic Monsters. There's an entire Transylvania planet.
That looks just like the scenery from Soul Eater.
Yes, and they watched anime, so it was done on purpose. Ghost Freak comes back for no reason. He looks like the Grim Reaper now. Just go with it. There's now a werewolf alien, ghost alien, Dracula alien, mummy alien, which they already had. The Frankenstein monster, which they already had. They kind of reused a lot of the classic ones and tried to give them more spotlight. And the entire joke is that Ben was an ugly, hideous monster. Unless he had pimples and acne, then he was gorgeous. Which kind of ran its course after a while.
Also within here, talking about the different designs and the changes was in all the other series, Ben had a girl who liked him. But Rascal kept talking about in this series, he had a harem.
Yeah.
And it was weird watching that they kept having all these different female aliens and humans and things have crutches on crutches.
Well,
Crutches.
yeah.
Crushes on Ben. It was really weird.
Yeah.
And I think for me that part didn't work.
Yeah, and
for people who were saying it was too anime for Alien Force into an alien, that's an anime trope.
exactly. And there's an entire cat girl who's supposed to be a stereotype of anime fans. She's a crazy cat girl who says kawaii and loves cats and everything kitty. That's a huge stereotype for anime girls, so why would you go and make an entire character as something they don't like?
Yeah.
And I think those two, they had 2 huge focus episodes of those, and I think those are probably my least favorite of the series. And everyone was just fine with it. Either the women were all fighting over Ben, or the guys wanted to see a turn out when Ben get beaten up. I just wanted the episodes to end. I'm sorry.
So as we mentioned, 1 and 2 are the best
Yes.
of the series. If you decide not to watch the entire series, if you already have preconceived notions like we did for a while, watch seasons 1 and 2 at least.
Yeah.
They are the
Yes.
Interesting.
Especially Ben 23.
Yes. And you also get to see a lot of Rook's backstory, the planet he came from,
Yes.
his family, which is really interesting. And Rook is voiced by Bumper Robinson.
Yes.
Was a perfect choice.
Yes,
Absolutely
absolutely.
worked. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to go into something else, but you mentioned just now.
About Ben 23.
Yes, they had different versions of Ben from different universes.
Hence the Omniverse in the title.
Throughout the series. And 23 ended up being my favorite. When you first met him, he was arrogant, he was very wealthy, stuck up, and the way they portrayed him, he was worse than Bling Bling. But
Yeah.
as the episode went on, this was two-part. As the episode went on, you found out about his backstory and what happened and how he ended up as he is. It was like, wow, you could just see Dwayne McDuffie inspiration written all over him.
Yes, absolutely.
And Ben at 16 helps Ben 23 to grow.
Right.
And to understand that he has love, he's surrounded by people that care about him, and he doesn't have to be the way he is, and he listens.
Yes.
And then at the end of the episode, one of the most heartwarming that is Rascal really loved him as I did, is he got back home and he saw Grandpa Max and he just ran and hugged him. And he was said he's in trouble and he said, I know you don't want to hear it. He's like, no.
They're going to punish me now.
Yeah, and he looked really surprised and he hugged him and he really appreciated having Grandpa Max around more because in a lot of the universes, Grandpa Max was gone or Gwen was gone and things had happened to them
Or they were
had
close.
been taken out.
Yeah.
And there were also some universes where he was evil
Yes.
and there was no
Was a
chance
huge
of
thing.
redemption.
Yes, there was a huge thing in one of the arcs visiting the Bens. Yes, there were about 3 or 4 versions of Ben, not counting Albedo, that were completely bad, and they teamed up with his villains.
And within the seasons 3 through 8, the ones where he kept visiting the different universes or the multiverse coming together, yes, Marvel, this is where you took it from.
Yeah.
They were some of the most interesting episodes of the remainder of the series.
Right.
Those were like bright spotlights. As soon as we knew that, you could tell from the beginning he was visiting another universe or something, like this is going to be a good episode. And it was.
Yes.
So, I personally think that if they made a movie or another series, it should focus on that aspect.
Yes.
They call this Omniverse, and Omniverse took place within it. But if they do another series and branch out, it should be of the other Ben 10s, all of that, the entire series.
Exactly.
And where they interact from time to time, or they end up helping each other, kind of like they do with Generator Rex.
Yes.
And Heroes United.
Yes.
That would be a perfect idea for a new Ben 10 series.
Yes.
Because
And
they excel. Man of Action excels in that area. Those were
Yes.
the best episodes throughout the entire series. All 8. Those were the best episodes, and I really enjoyed them.
yes. And I'm glad you brought that up because something really cool I want to bring up before we talk a little more about the universes and things. It would be, they actually tried to do a little bit of their own universe connecting thing. As you said, Generator Rex started in the previous series, Ultimate Alien. And in here, they actually were putting the Secret Saturdays in the same universe. I've never watched it, Benedetli has, and it was one of those lesser known Cartoon Network shows, but it still had a little bit of audience because of action. And they actually had them in the same universe as Ben 10, so I only knew a little bit about it, so it was more so the people who watched Ben 10, Generator Rex, and Secret Saturdays together, and it'd be like a mini universe. I think that was more a treat for them. And it was a great idea. If they had brought Rex back in here, they could have established a little Ben universe where Rex, the Saturdays, and Ben all exist at the same time. That actually would have been pretty ingenious to do. And they even had a little point in there where they added to Ben's harem, which I think they really should have stopped there. It was Zach's mother, Miss Saturday, and here's the thing. You knew Zach got older. He was about a teenager, which makes sense. He was about as old as Ben in the original. And the father looked about the same. And same voice actors returned, which was pretty good. But the mom, they completely redesigned to be more sensual for people to look at, and Ben kept talking about her, and it wasn't anything innuendo unclean, but you knew under radar it was like, no, don't go here. And they even implied that that was someone he could end up with in the future, and it was like, okay, stop, 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 stop it!
I guess
Don't-
said, well, Ben's a teen, we're gonna have him act like a
No!
teen.
Can you leave that part out? I was like, stop!
Yeah, that was a surprise, and yeah, they made her wear it. Absolutely, she would be found attractive.
Oh
so
my
it was
God.
different from the original design.
Right.
They also had, well, I should say, we were hoping some other characters would return, and they didn't. What did return? Did Kevin turn into the?
Sort of, kind of, sort of. They ended up sort of retconning themselves, and they added this thing where, I forgot what they were called. There was some group of aliens that would tackle bigger parts of the galaxy that the law couldn't.
And it wasn't DNA.
No, it was something, and Kevin actually was a part of it and didn't remember. They gave him his powers instead of being born with powers, and then all the plumber's kids you saw from the other series were in the same boat.
Brainwashed it.
And it,
Memories had been
yeah, and it was like they were kind of beginning, like this was like near the end of the series. You could tell they were really stretching to find something to make a story out of and try to be in betweens with the original. And they claimed this was always there and you just never saw because this was why. And I think that's when for us it began to go downhill because that felt a little more cliche than some of the original, especially with Kevin being temporarily bad for the 4th time.
So, let's talk about all the things that were right for the series. First of all, season 1 and 2.
Yes.
Those excellent parts of it. Man of Action, we're going to tell you, despite what we say we liked or didn't like, we will all support their work.
Yes.
We are huge fans of Man of Action, and we hope they continue forever in perpetuity
Right.
until they can't do work anymore.
Right.
Now, that being said, seasons 1 or 2 are the best. We did like, or I know I definitely liked, where there was a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Yeah, I saw something different.
And it alternated. That was great. And it was very different. The concept was really different. Rook is one of the best parts of the series. He is an amazing character in terms of writing, character development. He got a little goofy toward the end where they kind of had an episode where he was doing Fight Club, which kind of was weird.
Yeah, and
But other
eating
than that
meatball subs.
But other than that episode, this character is one you really, really grow to like, and he helps Ben grow, and Ben helps him grow. We didn't like in the beginning when Kevin and Gwen were going off to college and leaving Ben, but we did like that they came back from time to time, I should say.
Yeah,
And helped him out more than we thought they would come.
right.
That's good.
Which ended up leading to for some reason, a Scooby-Doo homage episode.
And we did also like, after we got used to the animation and looks of the characters being different from what we were used to, the animation was good. There was some season you could see it even got better. And it was one season where an episode, it was totally different, like it was flat line drawn.
Yeah.
And then it went back to the original style. We don't know what happened there. Liked the multiverse edition. They did it, maybe I'm sorry, they did it better than Marvel.
Right
took
now, yeah.
notes. They did a really good job with writing this. Liked there was character development we didn't expect, even though it got kind of goofy toward the end. If you discount that, there still was character development in all of the characters. We like the grandpa who's still here.
Yes.
In this version, we really love that. We got to see his mom again, not the dad.
For some reason, yeah.
I also liked that it ran 8 seasons. That means they got a long time to be able to tell all the stories they wanted to tell for good and for bad.
Right.
They got to probably finish out everything they wanted to do for Omniverse.
Right.
I do love that it was available free to watch the entire series. And I also liked that there was some seriousness and there was some humor.
That's true.
And most of all, I have to say, I really like that when Ben visited these other dimensions, he always did some good, he always helped.
Yes.
Even when you're in dimensions with the ones who had no the evil men.
Yes.
And there was a being rehabilitated.
Reform.
He would help them.
Right.
They could, in one, they even had kind of a remote,
Yeah,
where they could fight against the evil, and they didn't have to stand for it. Those, again, episodes were some of the best in the series, and those are the things really, really lovely.
Yes.
Now, the things that weren't so great about
Right.
Omniverse.
And we kind of brought them up here and there as we went along, but I think one of the big ones for me, and at least we were talking about Gwen and Kevin in college, was that they started having episode titles. At first, they were just things that were about the episode itself, which was fine the first 2 seasons. But then after that, all they kept doing were movie references. Every title was a reference to a movie, and most of them I didn't even know or see, but I knew the title, and some mama knew, but I've never seen. And it's like, why are they referencing these things? Now, it's not a bad thing that they want to reference that they really love or grew up with. It's great. But what makes it greater is that you ingeniously put that into the plot, and it has something to do with it. And majority of them had nothing to do with the movie they were parodying. A lot of them were stuff kids shouldn't even be watching. Like one that's kid friendly, but it was the strangest episode of the series, where they did a Scooby-Doo homage called Mystery Corporal, and they would solve a mystery on who was taking the students at Gwen's college, and that was the whole episode. And I think it was meant to be an homage to the Mystery Incorporated series at the time, because given their art style was similar. But a lot of people have said the issue with that one was that the Mystery Incorporated series was the darker Scooby-Doo.
Right.
It was more mature. It was more action. It had more storyline. It was considered the top tier Scooby-Doo series. So why would you reference that one and then have the whole shtick from the classic series?
I'm thinking they watched the classic, maybe they didn't watch Mystery Inc. and
Right.
they assumed Mystery Inc. was going to be like it.
Right.
If you never watched Mystery Inc., if you never watched it again, then you wouldn't know that it doesn't follow the standard formula they
Right.
had for other series.
Right.
And I think that's what happened.
Oh, that makes sense.
So we could just say it was a tribute then to the classic.
Yeah. Which
And there
makes more
were some
sense.
funny parts within it where they had, tiptoeing.
Yeah, and the
doing
music,
maneuvers.
yeah.
There were funny parts in it, but you're right. During that time, Mystery Inc. was out, and it should have been made clear that it was going to be tribute to that. But again, if you haven't watched Mystery Inc., then there's no way you would know
Right.
unless you read about it that it's the dark series.
Right. And then the last one, I think, was probably the strangest, because they had stuff like Bill Gax Must Croak, and it was like, what kid knows that movie? And then the one I think was probably the worst one they did was Baldrick and Driva Go to Mr. Smoothies, and then Area 51, which were homages to Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle and Escape from Guantanamo Bay, which were unrated movies out at the time.
I haven't seen any of the movies. and I
Me
haven't-
either.
So,
I knew what
but
they
it was
were.
obvious what they were doing. You don't have to watch the Harold and Kumar movies because they were heavily advertised. They had lots of reviews, and they were everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, it was easy to recognize it.
It was like,
But I'm glad it didn't go the way that the movies actually went because they definitely were not for kids.
Yes, and which was weird that this show that's supposed to be for kids went the route of a raunchy adult comedy movie, and then they couldn't put any raunch in their show anyway. So you were just kind of seeing the two gray matters just kind of goof off and be idiots trying to get some smoothies.
Maybe that was the point.
I
Man, actually,
I guess so, yeah.
one thing I kept looking for was disappointed I see is Michael Morningstar.
He only appeared once, and he was the joke. They made him look like Fred, and they beat the crap out of him.
Again, I wanted him to appear. You're talking about that episode, yeah.
That was his only appearance.
But I don't count it because it was a joke episode. I don't count it.
Oh.
How he appeared originally, he was a threat. He was very interesting, written and done, voiced by Will Wheaton. He was no joke. And yeah, there would be kind of like funny things that would happen, but he was a serious enemy of theirs.
Yeah.
And then at times he would come along and help them out, and then backstab them. But at some point, I wanted Michael Morningstar to be here as Michael Morningstar, not the joke.
Yeah.
And even if it had been just a couple of episodes, I wanted him to be in here, but they didn't have him, so that was a real disappointment for me.
Yeah.
Because the character, he's one of those characters you love to hate, and he wasn't in here. So that's one of the big things I found disappointing about Omniverse, that his character is one of the couple of others I would like to
much like how Rob Zombie made his Monsters prequel movie, they seem to really love these one-off characters from the classic and Alien series. Like, they'll have one episode, never appear again, like Cousin Lucy from the wedding episode suddenly was a plumber, major character, one of their best friends, and you never even heard about her up until that point again. And it happens all throughout, and they make it clear he ends up with Kai Green, and they hammer it over the head that he ends up with her, because who else would he end up with? That was his first. And it was kind of weird how they handled which characters they wanted to put in and which ones they left out.
So, that being said, we enjoy seasons 1 and 2. We recommend you watch it. If you're a Ben 10 fan, you probably already have. And if you haven't seen it, definitely watch at least seasons 1 and 2. Stay around for the rest if you just want to see how the series go.
Right.
And how Man of Action chose to develop a new series. We know you've seen it, Ben. For those of you that have seen it, let us know what you think in the comments below. Is it one of your favorites? Did you not care for it? Did you finish the entire series? We really want to know. If you haven't seen it, again, watch at least seasons 1 and 2. They are excellent. There are excellent episodes within the remainder of the series. There are some goofy seasons. But for the most part, I still would recommend you watch Omniverse entirely. But if you don't want to, at least watch season 1 and 2.
Right. And if you want to rewatch the show, you can just skip the episodes you just didn't care for. And it'll help your experience more.
Absolutely.
If you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
One final thing. Sorry, guys. We'd like to give Man of Action a very big thank you for having almost every original voice actor voice character return.
Yes.
Including Professor Paralyzed. Forgot to mention who was really worth his virgin.
Yes, he had a robot arm and everything.
But thank you for bringing them all back and they're being their favorite seasons. We really appreciate it because we love our voice actors and we want nothing more for them to be constantly and consistently employed doing what they love, which is bringing us joy. So thank you for doing that as well.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.